For today's video, I wanted to talk to you and just kind of have a heart-to-heart and discuss acne insecurities. I wanted to discuss kind of social anxiety and the anxiety that can come from insecurities with your image and insecurities with acne. Mermaid team represent. Hi kitty, will you love me? Love me? That is a definite no. I know that this week a lot of people might be going back to school. And when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about the good times, but also a lot of the bad times. And a lot of the things that were kind of going through my head when I was going back to school. And you know, having grown up, I've learned a little bit along the way, and I just wanted to talk about insecurities about acne, where they come from, and then how are we supposed to deal with them? Because especially when you've got acne, sometimes you feel alone against the world. I was always told by dermatologists like, oh, other kids have pimples, but like I never saw them. And my own negative talk in my own head was just as bad as what other people were saying to me. So when it comes to any insecurity, you know, whether it's your acne on your face, whether it's your weight, whether it's, you know, your ethnicity, whether it's the texture of your hair, whatever it is, I'm taking this off by the way. I'm done. Whatever it is, all of these insecurities are emotions and they all have validity. A lot of people try to tell us to just don't worry about it or try to ignore it or be like a rock in the river and let water go over you but don't let it bother you. But the truth is, if we're having an emotion, if we're having an insecurity that's expressing itself, that deserves validity. That comes from somewhere, and we need to give it that respect. If we run away from it hiding or just ignore it, we're not actually fixing the problem. And when it comes to any insecurity, it's completely human to have them. I have them, you have them, even your favorite celebrity or the person that you idolize the most definitely has their own insecurities. And when it comes down to it, what is an insecurity? Let's think about acne. Let's think that you're walking into a room with a whole bunch of new students that you're going to be going to school with, or a whole bunch of new coworkers that you're going to be working with. And you walk into this room for the first time and you've got all of this acne on your face. That anxiety doesn't feel good, but where is that insecurity coming from? What's going through your head? Is it, I'm not good enough? Is it, they're going to judge me for the way I look? Is it, I'm not going to be as popular? Is it, I'm not going to get paid as much if you're in a job situation, or I'm not going to get respected as much or get a good grade in the classroom? The root of almost every insecurity is a fear. And when we call it an insecurity, it's just kind of pushing that to the wayside. When in reality, it's a fear. For me, when it came to acne, it was a fear of being rejected. It was a fear of not fitting in. It was a fear of not being good enough. And guess what? Not a single person at that time was putting that onto me. It was literally me projecting that in my own head. It was my own fears that I was letting transform into an insecurity. And my fears of being validated or my fears of not being worthy, yes, they were acne related, but those were my personal issues. People weren't exactly putting that on me. And then let's talk about what if they did. So let's say you walk into that room and your acne is showing, your insecurity is showing, and someone says something to you and it's cold and it's derogatory and it just, it shoves it and it twists and it hits you where it hurts. Well, guess what? I know that words hurt. We're not going to pretend that they don't. But at the same time, whatever that person says is their opinion. If someone tells you that you're ugly, that is their opinion. That does not make it fact. If somebody comes up to me and tells me like, oh my God, your hair looks like pubes, or, you know, your skin could literally scare Satan, that is their opinion. It does not make it fact. Also, if I came into the room and I said, oh my God, you are so beautiful. You are so gorgeous. You are so talented. Of course, those are nice things to hear, but again, that's my opinion of you. That doesn't make it a fact. The only thing that is factual in your life is what you tell yourself in your internal dialogue. And it's really hard to tune other people out when they're saying positive or negative things, but you have to remember that those are another person's opinion. So what is an opinion made up of? An opinion is based on certain standards, and my opinion is going to be different than yours. Even my opinion is going to be different than my cousins or my friends. Why is that? It's because we've all had different life experiences. Every single opinion, including your own, is built off of life experiences. It's built off of that person's own fears, and it's built off of that person's values. I'm a vegan. I believe in animal rights and loving yourself and loving the environment. So any opinion that I give is going to have my morals and values tied into it. I also have fears. I have fears of being rejected. I have fears of not holding up to my own standards. I have fears of doing harm to other people or things. And those fears are going to come out in my opinion. Also, my life experience is different. I was a teenage runaway. I had acne. I became a model with acne. My life experience is going to be different than anyone else's. And whenever I give you an opinion, I am taking all of those things into consideration and trying to give you my best advice or just my opinion on whatever it is. But you have to remember that my experience in life is so different than yours or so different than somebody else's that it doesn't necessarily make me right. So when I give that opinion, it's like, it's my opinion. It's not fact. And when it comes to you, what's factual is what you decide. Now, there was a time where I really didn't have an identity. Yeah, I was Cassandra, but I really didn't know who I was. I didn't stand for anything. So if anyone came to me and said, oh my God, like, you're really tall, you should play volleyball, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll play volleyball. I guess I'm a good volleyball player. And some people would read my poetry and they would say, oh my God, Cassandra, you're actually really good at writing. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, I enjoy poetry, why not? And because I didn't know who I was or what I stood for, I just kind of agreed with everything. I let everybody else kind of shape me and mold me into what it was that I thought I was supposed to be. People would play certain music and they were like, oh my God, this music is awesome. Oh my God, Cassandra, you love this, don't you? I didn't even know what I liked. So I was like, yeah, I like it. When really, I didn't even have those basic set of fundamental opinions or those things that I stood for. So if I didn't stand for anything, how could I have an identity to protect? I was so moldable that I was what everybody else told me I was. I was not my own person. And it wasn't until I started identifying who I am, what I believe in, what my likes and dislikes are. When I started to find those things, it's like, yes, I love myself some Green Day. Yes, I am a fish out of water. Yes, there are days where I literally do not want to do anything to my hair. And guess what? I love cats and I hate TV and I love science and I love applying lipstick. And when I started to build those fundamentals of who I was as a person, other people's opinions didn't hurt me as much because all of a sudden I knew who I was. And even if somebody else wanted to put a label on me or wanted to put a word on me or a situation, I knew who I was and what I stood for. And it was me who allowed them to put those words on me or not. They could say them, but I didn't have to accept them. And when I was so moldable, I totally would. But when I literally just got up and kind of became my own person, it was like, no, I don't have to accept you calling me ugly. I don't have to accept you calling me a failure. My worth is not validated by what I wear or who I know, but who I truly am and what I stand for. And that was huge in me overcoming insecurities, especially when you would hear things from innocent kids at the grocery store. That was probably one of the hardest things for me. When it came to like social anxiety and acne, there was a time that I didn't leave my house, and when I did, I would have panic attacks because I thought that people were looking at me. And a panic attack and an anxiety attack, it literally feels like your world is about to end. And you can't explain it because you know it's not irrational, but you feel like you're gonna die. And another analogy I've heard someone else made is that, you know that feeling when you're walking and you miss a stair, and that sinking feeling of, oh my God, I'm following? That's what an anxiety or a panic attack feels like. Only it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. And I would have those in the car when I was driving, which was very dangerous. I would have those in the middle of aisle 7, and you just hunker down and like you're afraid and you feel like everyone's out to get you. And honestly, that's probably like a whole bunch of other things, could even be PTSD, who knows. But when it comes to that, one of the hardest things was innocent kids who weren't trying to be mean, who weren't trying to be rude, literally observed me and they were like, "Mom, what's wrong with that girl's face?" And it wasn't to be mean, it was just literally an observation. And that was one of the hardest things for me when it came to having acne. Because you know that this kid isn't trying to be rude, they're young, they're innocent, like, you know, they're not trying to be assholes, but, you know, those words do really affect you. So when people say, oh, just let the words bounce off of you, like, it's a lot easier said than done. And especially when it comes to acne in those situations, it is what it is. And at that time, I thought that my acne was the worst in the world. Yes, other doctors told me that people had it, but mine was the worst. It was terrible. It was disgusting. I was disgusting because of that. And it wasn't until I opened my mind up and found perspective that started to change. And this is one of my biggest tips for somebody who's trying to overcome an insecurity, especially about their physical features. It is put your situation in perspective. Because honestly, when I had my acne at its worst, I was so afraid of what everybody else was thinking of me. Every single thought that was going through my head was a reflection on what are they thinking, what are they thinking, what are they thinking. Couldn't even enjoy my life because I was so concerned about myself. As I've grown older, I realized, guess what, Cassandra? You're not the only person who thinks that way. Everyone is going around insecure, thinking, oh my God, how is this person looking at me? How's this person looking at me? And they're so focused on their own insecurities, they're not even paying attention to yours. Half the times in a conversation, someone will bring up their insecurity to me and they'll be like, oh, I have this huge pigmentation or this huge scar, or oh, I gained 30 pounds. And I'd be like, I didn't even notice until you brought it up. And you're gorgeous nonetheless. But we're so focused on our own insecurities that it's hard to get outside of our own heads. And honestly, when you are so insecure that you're spending thousands of dollars on beauty products, 2 hours every single morning in front of the mirror to put on makeup, and then you're going through your whole day wondering if everyone else thinks that you're okay, and is my foundation oily or is my acne showing through? As that girl, I could not focus on things that mattered. I was not making the world a better place when I was living in my own mind of insecurities. And it wasn't until I started traveling, until I started volunteering, until I started exploring the world that I realized, holy f***ing shit, Cassandra, your problems mean nothing. You are so worried about your image and your appearance in the classroom when there are girls who literally do not even have the chance at getting an education. You are so worried about the way your body looks or the way you look in a photo when there are people who literally cannot even put food on the table and don't know if their siblings are going to live tomorrow. And I know that sounds like really radical and really extreme, but I also feel like as privileged people that we are, we get really tuned out to that. We don't want to hear about it. We don't want to think about it because it's discomforting. But the truth is, it's out there and it matters. And you know, the top 20% of the income consume 80% of all of the goods in the world. And when you just kind of realize that and think to that, and especially if you go and you see it, whether it's through a documentary, whether it's in person, if you put yourself in that situation, your life changes. Your life changes. And when I started doing that, I realized, wow, my problems are so trivial. Why am I worried? And especially when I started talking, it was really YouTube that helps me so much, opened my mind so much. Because when I got on YouTube, for the first time in my entire life, I met other people with acne. Before I posted YouTube videos, I didn't know anybody who had acne the way that I did. And finally, when I started posting YouTube videos, people started emailing me saying, try this product, I have the same problem as you, how did you deal with this? Oh my God, try this, this is what worked for me. And not only did I find this amazing community, but a lot of people reached out and wanted help or just wanted a friend to talk to. And I'm not gonna lie to you, some of the photos that people sent me in emails, their acne was worse than mine. And I did not even think that was physically possible. But when I saw that somebody else had a worse condition, of course I felt for them and I was very empathetic, and sympathetic, but I was also just like, wow, Cassandra, stop complaining. Do something. You do not have a right to complain if you are not a part of the solution. Everyone has a right to their opinion, yada, 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 but the truth is you do not have a right to express that opinion, or you do not have a right to complain about that situation unless you are going to do something about it. And I know that that seems like it's against like what a lot of people think and like freedom of speech, but the truth is you need to be a part of the solution, because if you're not a part of the problem, you're not doing anything. You're neutral. You're still not a part of the solution. And when it comes to acne, that's what I realized. I was like, Cassandra, you have to do something here. You cannot live in your own world of 2 hours in front of a mirror in the morning when you can spend that time to enhance your own life, to enhance the lives of others, to help other people, and to help this world. And when you kind of either get over insecurities or when you silence them, you reach your higher potential. There is that Maslow's hierarchy of needs in psychology, and it's basically a pyramid, and it lists what we need as humans and it helps to explain why we do what we do. And at the very bottom is food, water, and shelter. If you do not have food, water, shelter, and basic needs met, dyslexia, basic needs met. If you do not have that, you cannot go into higher potential. But once you have those basic needs met, you can start worrying about self-appearance, self-esteem. But it isn't until your self-esteem and your self-value is taken care of that you can actually go out and take on the rest of the world and reach for a greater global good and community. And I found that whether it was silencing my insecurities and kind of skipping that just to try to help other people and be of value to the world, which then increased my self-esteem, or whether it was giving myself enough validation and enough positive reinforcement in my own verbal self-talk that I had enough self-esteem to really go out and help the world, that I realized this is what we're meant to do. And everything else becomes so trivial. And especially when people can't even meet their basic needs, who am I to sit here and complain about how I look? But for me, acne was an amazing thing because it brought me this community, and it brought me an understanding of my skin and a passion for science that I never would have had otherwise. I never would have wanted to become a dermatologist who treats acne patients ethically and with emotional health if it weren't for the experiences that I went through. And so, as negative as acne was, I am very, very happy that it happened that way. And that I learned so much from it. So this wind, this lovely summer breeze is really testing my patience, but whether you're going back to school this week, or whether you're walking into an important interview, or whether you're seeing people who you haven't seen in a long time, own your beauty, own your validity. Find what it is about you that you are fucking in love with and give that some respect. Build yourself from the bottom up so that no matter what other people's judgments throw at you, you have enough self-esteem and self-confidence that it doesn't matter. And I know that that's hard, and I know that it's a process, but I'm going to tell you that I'm here for you along the way, and a lot of other people are too. And especially when it comes to insecurities, don't ignore them. Don't let them run over you like water on a duck's back. Actually talk to them. Listen to them, because they mean something. They will tell you something about your past, and they will shape your future. And when you see them as what they are, when you see that this is just a fear, you can actually address it and assess it and start to make it better. And for me, like, I go out without makeup all the time now. How can I do that? Yes, my skin is a little bit better, but how could I do that even when my skin was terrible? I started in towns that I didn't know, complete strangers. And when I realized no one was really paying attention to me, they were all just kind of paying attention to themselves, I could then go into my own town and start doing that. And there are days that I was so insecure about my hair, and now I just live the way I want to live. I do what is comfortable and what makes me happy. And I feel so much better that way. I actually feel more beautiful on the inside because I know that my actions are what is shaping my life and the lives of the people who I surround myself with and this world as a whole. And I'm doing something that matters. And at the end of the day, my appearance will have no effect on how beautiful or miserable this world is. And I still get sucked into insecurities, I'm not gonna lie, but it's just about taking myself out of that mindset and putting it into perspective and focusing on what really matters and knowing that I do have value and finding that value in things other than my appearance. And a lot of people will say like, well, Cassandra, that's so easy for you. You don't have acne anymore. And I still get breakouts. Like even today, I was insecure about this pimple. I was like, oh my God, am I gonna put foundation on it? I have like a hairline breakout right here. But I was just like, screw it. Just do what you want to do, burp on camera, do what's gonna make you happy. And yes, my skin is a lot better than it was, but I was going out without makeup when my skin was terrible. And that was the beginning to me getting here. And I actually attribute a lot of my skin clearing to that time where I wasn't judging myself so hard and where I wasn't wearing makeup every single freaking day. And I have to tell you, living free of that emotional torment is like the most liberating thing that could have ever happened to me. So wherever you are, whatever it is you are doing, I want you to know that it is my personal opinion that you are beautiful, you are valuable, you are amazing in ways that no other person could ever be. And there is something about you that absolutely shines. That you are strong. That your emotions, your opinions, and your personal preferences are validated, and you have the right to stand up for what you believe in. I also believe that you are going to do amazing things, and that you have reached such an amazing level of success, but there is still so much potential that I know you can reach for. And I believe in you to make this entire world a better place for all of us. And like I've been saying in recent videos, I believe beauty is not something we are born with. It is something that we learn, and it is something that we earn. And guess what? Learning requires a lot of falling down, scraping our knees, getting back up, and wiping them off. And I truly believe that that is what makes us all beautiful. So if you're going through any insecurities or any tough times, feel free to post it in the comments. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about those fears. Let's talk about what's going on, because that might be the first step into making it better, or that might be the first step into getting help. So I want you to know that I love you. I absolutely love you. Be beautiful, both inside and out. And I post videos twice a week on the internet. I don't exactly know when because my filming schedule is so off, but know that I love you, I care about you, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.